Assalamu alaikum. I'm Dr. Smina Javed, delivering lecture on hormone action and signal transduction. Hormone transduces signals to affect homeostatic mechanism. The stimulus can be challenge or threat to the organism, to an organ, or to the integrity of the single cell within that organism. Recognition of the stimulus is first step in the adaptive response. This involves the nervous system, special senses at the orgasmic level, at the organ or tissue level and cellular level. Recognition involves the physiochemical factors such as pH, oxygen, tension, temperature, nutrient supply, noxious metabolites, and osmolality. Appropriate recognition results in release of the one or more hormones that produces adaptive response. Hormones are categorized that is based on the location of the receptor and type of the signal generated. Group 1 hormone interact with the intracellular receptor, then intracellular receptor, and the type of the signal they generate. Group 2 hormones interact with the receptor located on the extracellular surface of the plasma membrane of the target cells. Here we have a stimulus. This is the process of the recognition, and after the recognition, then there is release of the group 1 hormone. Group 1 hormone, when they get released, they bind with they bind with the receptors. We have the hormone receptor complex. This hormone receptor complex then helps in the transcription of the gene, and it helps in the synthesis of the transporter channels. While group 2 hormone, when released, they produce different type of the signals, and they produces the effect on the protein modification, protein translocation, and gene transcription. Signal generation. The ligand receptor complex is the signal for group 1 hormone. Lipophilic group 1 hormone diffuse through the plasma membrane and bind with the intracellular receptor in the target cells. These receptors can be located in the cytoplasm or in the nucleus of the target cells. Hormone receptor complex first undergoes an activation reaction. Receptor activation occur by at least two mechanisms. For example, glucocorticoid hormone, they diffuse across the plasma membrane, encounter the receptor in the cytoplasm of the target cells. Ligand receptor binding results in the conformational change in the receptor, leading to the dissociation of the heat shock proteins. This step is necessary for the nuclear localization of the glucocorticoid receptor. This receptor also contains nuclear localization sequence that assists in the translocation from the cytoplasm to the nucleus. The activated receptor moves into the nucleus and binds with high affinity to specific sequence called hormone response element. The DNA-bound liganded receptors serve as a high affinity binding target for one or more co-activated protein and accelerates the gene transcription. Certain hormones, this is the second mechanism for group 1 hormone, that certain hormones such as the thyroid and retinoid They diffuse from the extracellular fluid across the membrane and go directly into the nucleus. In this case, cognate receptor is already bound to here, and however, this DNA bound receptor fails to activate transcription because it exists in complex with the co-repressor proteins. It means that hormones, it enters into the cell, it crosses the cytoplasm, goes into the nucleus, while this the receptor is already bound to the DNA, and this the receptor bounded DNA bounded receptor, it cannot transcribe the proteins because it is already bounded with the co-repressor proteins. Association of the ligand with these receptors results in dissociation of the co-repressor proteins. There is a conformational changes occur in the DNA bound receptors, and these co-repressor protein, they get dissociated. The ligand receptor is now capable of the binding one or more co-activated proteins with high affinity, resulting in recruitment of the RNA polymerase and the GTFS and activation of the gene transcription. In the above, we have the hormone which belongs to the glucocorticoid family. That these hormones they crosses the cell membrane. They crosses the cell membrane, enters into the cytoplasm. Here there is a release of the when bound with the receptor. There is dissociation of the heat shock proteins from the receptors, and this release of the heat shock protein is not now helps in the localization of the hormone from the localization of the receptor hormone complex from the cytoplasm into the nucleus. Then this hormone receptor complex enters into the nucleus, and it binds with the glucocorticoid receptor GRE. This GRE binds with it is present in the nucleus, and when the hormone bind with it, it helps in the activation of the co-activated proteins, and these co-activated proteins that helps in the transcription of the genes. This the glucocorticoid response element, it is present in the DNA. When the hormone enters into the glucocorticoid response element, it binds with the hormone, and when the hormone binds with it, it causes the activation of the certain co-activated protein. This co-activated protein helps in the transcription of the different glucocorticoid and different glucocorticoid proteins which are involved in the action of the glucocorticoid hormones. Next is that is the thyroid hormone or retinoids. They enters into the cytoplasm, they crosses the nuclear membrane. Here the thyroid response element is present in the nucleus. It is bound with the DNA, but it cannot transcribe the different proteins because this thyroid response element, it is binded with the this co-repressive proteins. When the hormone binds with this thyroid response element, this co-repressive protein, there is conformational change occur in the co-repressive this thyroid response element, and there is a release of the co-repressive proteins. And when there is a release of the repressive protein, there is then co-activated protein can bind with this thyroid response element. When this thyroid response element is binded with the co-repressive proteins, co-activated proteins, there is formation of the different proteins after transcription. Now the group 2 hormone, peptide and catecholamine hormones. They have membrane receptor and use intracellular messengers. Many hormones are water-soluble, they have no transport protein, initiate their response by binding to a receptor located in the plasma membrane. The mechanism of action can be explained in terms of the intracellular signals they generate. These signals are cyclic AMP, cyclic GMP, calcium, and phosphatidyl inositides. Some molecules are termed as second messenger as their synthesis is triggered by the presence of the prime. Such molecules are termed as a second messengers as their synthesis is triggered by the presence of the primary hormone binding its receptor G protein coupled receptors. For example, we have the G protein coupled receptor is the example of the synthesizing the second messengers. Many of the group 2 hormone bind to the receptor that couple bind to the receptor that coupled to effector through G proteins. These receptors have alpha helical hydrophobic plasma membrane spanning domain. These receptors are called G protein coupled receptors, and to date we have hundreds of the G protein coupled receptors have been identified. Here we have the figure which shows the G protein effector system. For example, we have the receptor which have the 7 alpha helical plasma membrane spanning domain. Then we have this G protein then we have a effector which is the represented in the form of the E. This first is when the hormone binds to the receptors, it acts on the catalytic unit which causes the dissociation of the heterotrimeric protein which consists of the alpha, beta and gamma subunits. This alpha subunit is the stimulatory or inhibitory one, and beta and gamma subunits they get separated, and alpha subunit then acts on the adenylyl cyclase or E. Then there is release of the second, there is the release of the cyclic AMP which perform its effect on different metabolic functions. Cyclic AMP is the intracellular signal for many responses. Cyclic AMP intracellular messenger identified the first cyclic AMP is the first intracellular messenger identified in mammalian cells. Different peptide hormone can either stimulate or inhibit the production of the cyclic AMP from adenylyl cyclase through action of the G proteins. G proteins are encoded by at least 10 different genes. Two parallel systems, a stimulatory and an inhibitory one. um, converge upon a catalytic molecule. Each consists of a receptor Rs or Ri and a regulatory G protein complex termed as GS and GI. So this parallel system, it contains the stimulative and inhibitive one, and they converge on a catalytic molecule, and this catalytic molecule consists of the receptor and receptor Rs and Ri and regulatory G protein complex termed as GS and GI. Both GS and GI are heterotrimeric G proteins. The stimulated GS means this G stimulated G inhibited proteins are heterotrimeric G proteins composed of the alpha, beta, and gamma subunits. It is alpha and beta and gamma subunits. Since the alpha subunit in GS differ from that in GI, they are designated as alpha S or alpha I. These alpha subunits bind with the guanine nucleotide, and the beta and gamma subunits are likely always associated with binding of the hormone to Rs or Ri, result in receptor-mediated activation of the G protein, which causes the exchange. The alpha subunit bind with the guanine nucleotides. Alpha subunit bind with the guanine nucleotide. The beta and gamma subunits are likely always associated with the binding of the Rs and Rid, results in receptor-mediated activation of the G protein, which causes the exchange of the GDP by GTP and dissociation of the beta and gamma from alpha 1. The alpha S has intrinsic GTPase activity. The active form is inactivated on hydrolysis of the GTP to GDP and trimeric G complex, then reform as is ready for another activation. There is large family of the G protein. Protein kinases. In eukaryotic cells, cyclic AMP bind to the kinases, a heterotrimeric molecule. Protein kinase, a heterotrimeric molecule, consists of the two regulatory subunits that inhibit the activity of the two catalytic units. That is, cyclic AMP binds with the regulatory subunits and catalytic subunits. The R2 and C2 has no enzymatic activity, but binding of the cyclic AMP to R submit causes the dissociation of the R complex, thus activation of the catalytic unit. The activated catalytic subunit catalyzes the transfer of the gamma phosphate of ATP to serine or threonine residue in a variety of the proteins. So the effect of the cyclic AMP in eukaryotic cells are all uh, thought to be mediated by the protein phosphorylation and dephosphorylation. The effect of the cyclic AMP includes such diverse processes such as steroidogenesis, secretion of the iron transport, carbohydrate and fat metabolism, enzyme induction, gene regulation, synaptic transmission, cell growth and replication. These are all the functions which cyclic AMP can perform. Action caused by the hormones that increase the cyclic AMP concentration can be can be terminated by the hydrolysis of the cyclic AMP to 5-AMP by phosphodiesterase. These are the different classes and functions of selected G proteins. First is the GS stimulatory one, is in which we have alphas and alpha olfactory. Alphas, the stimulus is the glucagon. They produce the glucagon alpha adrenergic stimulus. The alpha effect is produce the adrenals, increase adrenaline cyclase, increase cardiac calcium level, chloride and sodium channels. Uh, by the production of the increased cyclic AMP, we have the glycogenesis, lipolysis, and glycogenolysis. These are the facts produced by the cyclic AMP on the beta on the effect of on beta adrenergic hormones. Next is the alpha olfactory. Stimulus is odorant, increase adrenal cyclase, and we have the effect is the olfaction. We can smell things. Next is the next class is the GI, that is the inhibitory one, in which we include the GI 1, 2, 3, in which we have the stimulus is the acetylcholine or alpha 2 adrenergics or M2 cholinergics. We have the decreased adrenaline cyclase, increased potassium channels, decreased calcium channels, and increased potassium channels. And by the action of these by the action of these in decreased activity of the adrenal cyclase, we have the slowed heartbeat. Next is the alpha O, that is opioids and endorphins. They increase the potassium channels, and we have the neuronal electrical activity. Among the GI, we have the alpha T, that is concerned with the light. We have the increased cyclic GMP phosphodiesterase, and this is involved in the vision. Next class is the GQ. In this GQ, we have the GQ M1 stimulus is M1 cholinergics and alpha 1 adrenergics. In this, we have the increased phospholipase, C activity, and we have the decreased muscular contraction and decreased blood pressure. We have the two types alpha 1 adrenergics, in which we have the increased phospholipase C and B1 activity, which causes the decreased muscular contraction. While alpha 1, we have the A11, is alpha, in which we have alpha 1 adrenergic and increased phospholipase CB2, and which helps in the decreasing the blood pressure. Another class of the G protein is G12. This is the thrombin, and effector is the Rho, and it is involved in the cell shape. Cyclic GMP is also intracellular signal. Cyclic GMP is produced from the GTP by the enzyme guanylyl cyclase, which exists in soluble and membrane-bound form. Each of these enzymes has unique physiological properties. Atriopeptin, a family of the peptides produced in the cardiac atrial muscles, causes natriuretic vasodilation and inhibition of the aldosterone secretion. When cyclic GMP linked to vasodilation, a series of the compounds including nitroglyceride and nitroprusides and nitric oxide, sodium nitrate, all causes smooth muscle relaxation and are potent vasodilation. These agents increase cyclic GMP, by activating the soluble form of the guanylyl cyclase, while the inhibitor of the cyclic GMP is the phosphodiesterase, cyclic GMP phosphodiesterase. In this, we use a drug, Sild, sildenafil, that is Viagra. This drug is used in impotency. Several hormones act through calcium or phosphatidyl inositones. Ionized calcium is an important regulator of the variety of the cellular process, including blood clotting cascade, muscle contraction, stimulus secretions, enzyme activity, membrane excitability. Calcium is also an intracellular messenger of the hormone action. The extracellular concentration of calcium is 5 millimoles per liter and is rigidly controlled. A substantial amount of the calcium is associated with intracellular signals. A substantial amount of the calcium is associated with the intracellular organelles such as mitochondria and endoplasmic reticulum. There are three ways of changing the cytosolic calcium level. Certain hormones by binding, there are three ways of the changing cytosolic calcium level. Certain hormones by binding to a receptor that are themselves calcium enhancers. Second way is that the hormone by binding to receptor enhances the calcium influx by changing membrane permeability. Calcium can be mobilized from the third way is that calcium can be mobilized from the endoplasmic reticulum and possibly from the mitochondrial pool. So there are three ways. One is the receptor. They increase they act as a calcium enhancer. Second is by binding to the receptor complex. They increase the membrane permeability. Second is the mobilization of the calcium from the endoplasmic reticulum and mitochondria. Calcium regulatory protein is calmodulin. Calcium-dependent regulatory protein is called the calmodulin. Calmodulin has 4 calcium binding sites, and full occupancy of these sites lead to the marked conformational changes which allows the calmodulin to activate enzyme, and addition to its effect on enzyme, it helps in the ion transport. Calcium calmodulin regulates the activity of the many structural elements in the cell. Phosphatidyl inositide's metabolism affect the calcium-dependent hormone action. Some signals must provide communication between the hormone receptor on the plasma membrane and intracellular reservoirs. This is accomplished by the products of the phosphatidyl inositide metabolism. Self receptors such as those cell surface receptors such as those for acetylcholine, antidiuretic hormone, and alpha type of the catecholamine, when occupied by the respective ligand, potent activator of the phospholipase C. Receptor binding and activation of the phospholipase C are coupled by the GQ isoform potent activator of the phospholipase C, receptor binding and activation of the phospholipase are by GQ isoform. Phospholipase Phospholipase C catalyzes the hydrolysis of the phosphoinositide 4,5-bisphosphate to inositol triphosphate and 1,2,2-diacylglycerol. This diacylglycerol is capable of activating the protein kinase, the activity of which also depends upon calcium inositol triphosphate, causes the release of the calcium from the endoplasmic reticulum, thus raising the intracellular calcium level. The resulting elevation of the calcium calmodulin dependent kinase and many other calcium calmodulin dependent enzymes. Steroidogenic agents including ACTH and cyclic AMP in adrenal cortex, luteinizing hormone in the ovary and testes have been associated with increased amount of the phosphatidyl inositols. Now this figure shows certain hormone receptor interaction results in activation of the phospholipase C. That calcium first there is the receptor which contains the G protein and this phospholipase C is activated. Phospholipase C when activated, it acts on the phosphate, it phosphatidyl inositols and it causes the release of the diacylglycerol and inositol triphosphate. Now, when there is a protein kinase activated, it causes the entrance of the membrane permeability of it causes the change in the permeability of the cell, and there is entrance of the calcium. Inositol triphosphate, it acts on the endoplasmic reticulum. It causes the release of the calcium from the endoplasmic reticulum. This calcium it acts on the calcium which is released from the endoplasmic reticulum. It acts on the mitochondria. And it acts on the mitochondria, and there is again release of the calcium from the mitochondria. This calcium which enters into the cell, it activates the calmodulin, and this calmodulin can produce number of the action. For example, multifunctional calmodulin kinase causes the activation of the phosphoprotein physiological response, and specific calmodulin kinases it it converts the proteins into the phosphoproteins, and calcium which is released from the mitochondria or from the calmodulin, it can produce other effects on proteins. Here we have the phosphatidyl inositide 4,5-bisphosphate. When the phospholipase C acts on it, it causes the release of the diacylglycerol and inositol triphosphate. Some hormones act through a protein kinase cascade mechanism. In this we have the epidermal growth factor receptors, insulin-like growth factor receptors have intrinsic tyrosine kinase activity that is activated by binding of the ligand. Certain receptors involved in growth control, differentiation, and inflammatory response either have intrinsic kinase activity are tightly associated with proteins that are tyrosine kinases. Insulin transmits signals by several kinase cascades. Insulin receptors have intrinsic protein tyrosine kinase activity located in the cytoplasmic domain. These activities are stimulated when the ligand bind to the cognate receptors, and these receptors are then autophosphorylated on tyrosine residues, and this phosphorylation initiates a complex series of the events, the phosphorylated insulin receptor. The phosphorylated insulin receptor substrates, there are four of these molecules called the insulin receptor substrate 1 to 4 on tyrosine residues. Phosphorylated insulin receptor bind to Src homology SH2 domain of the variety of the proteins that are directly involved in mediating different action of the insulin. For example, here is the figure which shows the action of the insulin. That insulin, it is binds with the hormone. It is the insulin binds with the receptor and extracellular site and intracellular site. On the extracellular site, it binds. Hormones bind with it, and intracellular site have intrinsic tyrosine kinase activity. Now, when this intrinsic tyrosine kinase it causes the phosphorylation of the tyrosine residues present in the intracellular domain. This intracellular domain in turn causes the phosphorylation of different substances known as insulin receptor substrate, and they all get phosphorylated. Insulin receptor substrate they are four in number 1 to 4, and they activate the GRB2 protein and other GRB2 protein and mammalian son of semenless. They activate it causes the phosphorylation, which in turn activation of the RAS proteins, RAF proteins, MEC and MAP kinases. These all proteins are involved in the cell growth. They help in the synthesis of the DNA, early responses, gene transcription, and induction. While other insulin receptor substrates acts on the PI3 kinases, and PI3 kinases which in turn activates the PTK1, and these are the MTOR proteins. These are all activated. They get phosphorylated, and they help in the biological effects produced by the insulin, like protein translocation, enzyme activity, and gene transcription. Now you can look at the different in gene transcription. We have the synthesis of the different types of the protein, for example, synthesis of the glucagon, insulin growth like factors, and phosphoryl pyruvate kinase, carboxykinase proteins, and enzyme activity. It causes the protein phosphatase, activation of the protein phosphatases, phosphodiesterase, and other in protein translocation. We have the transport of the glucose transporters and insulin transporters and IGF2 transporters. The extra pathway is used by the hormones and cytokines. Some hormones such as growth hormone, prolactin, erythropoietin, and cytokines initiate their action by activating a tyrosine kinase. But this activity is not an integral part of the hormone receptor. The hormone receptor interaction promotes binding and activation of cytoplasmic protein tyrosine kinases. such as the JAK1, JAK2, or tyrosine residues. These kinases phosphorylates one or more cytoplasmic proteins which then associated with other dog proteins through binding to SI2 domains. One such interaction results in activation of the cytosolic protein called STAT or signal transduction or activation or of transcription, which activate called STAT or signal transduction and activates um, transcription. The phosphorylated STAT protein the phosphorylated STAT protein and then translocates into the nucleus and binds to the specific DNA elements such as the interferon response element and activates the transcription. NFKB pathway is regulated by glucocorticoid, the DNA binding transcription factor. The NFKB is a heterodimeric complex typically composed of the NFKB pathway is regulated by the glucocorticoids. It is the DNA binding transcription factor. NFKB is a heterodimeric complex typically composed of the two subunits termed as P50 and P65. Normally, NFKB is sequestered in the cytoplasm in transcriptionally inactive form by members of the inhibitor of the NFKB family of the proteins. These proteins are known as IKB, that is an inhibitor of the NFKB proteins. As extracellular stimulus such as the pro-inflammatory cytokines, reactive oxygen species, and mitogens, they lead to activation of the IKK, that is the in IKB kinase, which is which is an heterohexameric structure. It consists of the alpha, beta, and gamma subunits. IKK phosphorylates IKB. On 2-serine residue, this phosphorylation targets IKB for polyubiquination and subsequent degradation by the proteasomes following IKB degradation. Free NFKB translocates to the nucleus where it binds to the number of the gene enhancers and activates the transcription, particularly of genes involved in inflammatory response. Glucocorticoid hormones are therapeutically useful agents for a variety of the inflammatory and immunomodulatory actions. These actions are explained by the inhibition of the NFKB evidence for the three mechanisms for inhibition of the NFKB. Evidence for three mechanisms for inhibition of the NFKB by glucocorticoid has been described. Glucocorticoid increase the IKBM messenger RNA, which leads to the increased production of the IKB protein and more efficient sequestration of the NFKB in the cytoplasm. The glucocorticoid receptor competes with the NFKB for binding to the coactivator. The glucocorticoid receptor directly binds to P65 subunits of the NFKB and inhibits its activation. Here is the NF-kB activator. Pro-inflammatory cytokines, bacteria, viruses, reactive oxygen species, mitogens, they bound to the membrane and it acts on the IKK. These IKK, it is a heterohexameric. It is heterohexameric protein. This P50 and P65 they get sequestered in the presence of the IKB. When this IKK acts, when these IKK are stimulated by the presence of the different noxious stimulus, they causes the release of the causes the release of the IKB by the ubiquination process and P50 and P64. P60 and P50 are released and they acts on the DNA and helps in the helps in the synthesis of the certain proteins which act as a pro-inflammatory agents. This is the NF-kB activators. Second, in the first figure, we have the signal transduction, that is the JAK-STAT pathway. When the hormone bind to the receptors, it causes the phosphorylation of the JAK proteins which are present inside the cytoplasm. These JAK proteins in turn act on the STAT proteins, and these STAT proteins dimerizes and they translocate into the nucleus, and in the nucleus when they get translocated they causes the activation of the different types of the proteins. So this is all about the signal transduction.